For 19 days, Sam spoke to everyone except his wife. Not a word, not a look. He came home from work at dinner in silence and slept on the far edge of the bed, a wall of quiet between them. Layla tried everything. She asked what was wrong. She apologized. She got angry, but nothing. The silence just got thicker. And then, on day 20, Layla did something that changed everything. She stopped trying to reach him. She sat down at the kitchen table. She took a breath. And she said 5 words. In this video, you'll discover what those 5 words were, and you will learn 7 natural English expressions for emotional distance and silence in relationships. And you will use them in an IELTS Speaking Part 3 answer. But first, you need to understand what happened between Sam and Layla. Sam and Layla had been married for 6 years. Not a perfect marriage. No marriage is perfect, you know, but a good one. They talked, they laughed, they fought, and they made up. Normal. Then Sam's company restructured. He didn't lose his job, but his role changed. New boss, new pressure. He stopped talking about work. At first, Layla thought he was just tired, but the tiredness became distance, and the distance became silence. Notice the word distance. In relationship psychology, emotional distance does not mean physical space. It means 2 people living in the same house but feeling alone. This is a very useful expression, emotional distance. Let me say that again slowly. Emotional distance. It means a gap between 2 people's feelings, not their bodies. Sam did not shout. He didn't leave, he just withdrew. There is a word for this in psychology, a stonewalling. To stonewall someone means to refuse to communicate. You build a wall not with bricks, with silence. Notice this is a strong collocation, to give someone the silent treatment. You do not make the silent treatment, you give it. This is a good collocation to remember. Layla tried 3 different approaches. First, she asked direct questions. Sam, what's wrong? Talk to me. Nothing. He looked at his phone. Notice the expression, to shut someone out. To shut someone out means to deliberately block a person from your emotions. Layla felt shut out. Not locked out of the house, locked out of his heart. Second, she got angry. You can't just ignore me for 2 weeks. This isn't fair. Still nothing. Sam didn't defend himself. He didn't fight back. He just absorbed her anger and said nothing. Notice that, to absorb. He took it in and gave nothing back. Third, she blamed herself. I'm sorry, whatever I did. I'm sorry. Please just talk to me. That was the worst one, because now Layla was apologizing for something she didn't do. And the silence rewarded her apology. The silence taught her, if you feel bad enough, maybe he'll come back. This is a pattern not just in Sam and Layla's marriage, but in thousands of relationships every day. Day 20. Layla woke up and something was different. Not in Sam. Sam was still silent. Something was different in her. She had spent 19 days trying to pull words out of a man who was not ready to speak. And she was exhausted, not just tired, drained. Notice the expression, emotionally drained. It means you have no emotional energy left. You're empty. She sat at the kitchen table. Sam was there, eating toast, looking at his phone. And instead of asking him what was wrong, Layla said 5 words, very quietly, very calmly. I'm here when you're ready. Then she picked up her coffee and went into the other room. Let me explain what just happened, because this is a psychology that changes everything. For 19 days, Layla chased Sam. Every question, every apology, every moment of anger, it was all chasing. And chasing tells the other person, you are the prize. I am the one who needs you. The more she chased, the more powerful his silence became. When she said, I'm here when you're ready, she did 3 things at once. 1. She stopped chasing. Notice the expression, to give someone space. This doesn't mean you leave the house. It means you stop pressuring. You let them breathe. 2. She kept the door open. She did not say, oh fine, I'm done. She said, I'm here. That is the connection without pressure. 3. And there is the most important one. She put the next move in his hands. She said, I'm ready. The next step is yours. Notice the expression, the ball is in your court. This is a very common idiom in English. It comes from tennis. The ball is in your court means it is your turn to act. I've done my part. Now you. 3 hours passed. Layla read a book. She didn't check her phone. She didn't walk past his door. She gave him space, a real space. At 11 o'clock that night, Sam came into the bedroom. He sat on the edge of the bed and for the first time in 20 days, he spoke. I don't know how to talk about what's happening at work. I feel like I'm failing and I didn't want you to see it. Notice what Sam just said. He did not apologize for the silence. He did not explain the silence. He explained the fear behind the silence. And that is the difference. Notice the collocation, to open up. To open up means to share feelings you've been hiding. Sam finally opened up. The silent treatment, the stonewalling, it was never about Layla. It was about shame. Sam felt like a failure and he didn't know how to say it, so he said nothing. Let me review the 7 expressions from this lesson. Repeat after me. 1. Emotional distance. A gap between 2 people's feelings. 2. To give someone the silent treatment. To deliberately ignore someone as a form of punishment or withdrawal. 3. To shut someone out. To block someone from your emotions. 4. Emotionally drained. Having no emotional energy left. 5. To give someone a space. To stop pressuring. To let someone breathe. 6. The ball is in your court. It is your turn to act. 7. To open up. To share feelings you've been hiding. You now understand Sam and Layla's story, but could you explain the wider issue clearly in a part 3 speaking question? Here is a question. Why do some people find it difficult to express their emotions in close relationships? Now, listen to this model answer. I'll speak slowly and after that, I'll explain why it is strong. In my view, there are several reasons why people struggle to express their emotions in close relationships. Firstly, many people grow up in families where feelings are not discussed openly. They learn from a young age that showing vulnerability is a sign of weakness. So as adults, they maintain emotional distance rather than opening up to their partners. Secondly, there is often a fear of being judged. A person may worry that if they share their real feelings, especially feelings of failure or shame, their partner will think less of them. Instead of giving someone space to understand, they shut that person out completely. Finally, in some cases, people simply lack the vocabulary to describe what they are feeling. They experience the emotion but do not have the words for it, so silence becomes the default response. Alright? This is a strong part 3 answer. Why? Because it answers the question directly. It presents several causes, it explains each cause, and it uses the vocabulary from this lesson naturally. Notice, emotional distance, opening up, shutting someone down, giving someone a space. 4 of our 7 expressions used directly in the context. Sam and Layla did not fix everything in one night. Real relationships don't work like that. But that night was the beginning, because Layla stopped chasing and started waiting, not passive waiting, active waiting. The kind that says, I'm here, the door is open, the ball is in your court. And here is the real lesson, not just for English, but for life. Silence is not always rejection. Sometimes silence is a person who doesn't yet know how to say what they feel. If you're the one being shut out, remember, you cannot force someone to open up, but you can stop pushing. You can say, I'm here, when you're ready. And then you can live your life, because your peace doesn't depend on the words. Now your task is very simple. In the comments, please write 2 or 3 sentences about the time someone shut you out or the time you shut someone out. Use at least one of today's expressions. I'll personally correct and improve as many answers as I can. If this lesson helped you, subscribe. Because here you don't just learn English, you learn how to understand people, how to express what others struggle to put into words.